The Newsday continues here on One News Now. I'm Diego Castro. President Bongbong Marcos, who is also the chief of the Agriculture Department, assures Filipinos that the country has enough supply of rice. However, he notes that the Philippines still needs to import rice as part of the government's measures to control prices. In a video message, Marcos added that it's important for the National Food Authority to have enough buffer stock, saying that the current level is low. The statement comes after the DA and other farmers groups warned of a looming rice shortage during the lean months on top of the expected El Nino.
Maganda naman ang sitwasyon natin, hindi tayo magkukulang sa bigas at tinitignan natin lahat ng paraan upang ang presyo ay makontrol natin at hindi naman masyadong tataas.
The Foreign Affairs Department sees closer economic engagement between the Philippines and the U.S. The FA Secretary Enrique Manalo said the recent 2+2 ministerial dialogue has opened new channels to improve the scale and depth of the partnership. Manalo added that the two countries have agreed to reinforce their bilateral relations with a new focus on long-term economic partnership. On Wednesday, key government officials met with their U.S. counterparts for the ministerial dialogue, which was held for the first time in 7 years. China disapproves a joint statement of the Philippines and the U.S. condemning Beijing's activities in South China Sea. Brian Castillo with a report.
China reacted negatively to the statements made by Philippine and United States officials against Beijing's activities in the West Philippine Sea. This comes after the recent 2+2 ministerial dialogue between the United States and the Philippines. According to Chinese Foreign Ministry spokesperson Wang Wenbin, China has indisputable sovereignty over the islands in the disputed waters. Wang added that maintaining peace and stability in the region hinges on trust, solidarity, and cooperation, and requires that members of this region should take security firmly in their own hands. Manila and Washington recently expressed strong objections to the unlawful maritime claims, militarization of reclaimed features, and threatening and provocative activities in the South China Sea. Meanwhile, News 5 had a chance to go around the Antonio Bautista Air Base in Puerto Princesa, Palawan, which is one of the 5 military bases included in the Enhanced Defense Cooperation Agreement or EDCA in 2014. One of the facilities funded by the U.S. is now being used for the Balikatan exercises by Filipino and American soldiers and other allies.
Dito po usually ginagawa yung mga planning at saka monitoring during exercises at saka mga incident responses po natin sa panahon ng mga emergencies or disaster.
Aside from this, the U.S. military also funded projects which includes putting up a fuel storage facility, an incident command facility, and a multi-purpose building. The Philippine Air Force, though, maintained that the EDCA sites are still under the jurisdiction of the Philippine government.
Rest assured mga kababayan natin na the Philippine government is in control of all these sites. We will not allow any pagbibigay, pagbibitaw ng ating control sa ating mga teritoryo ng Pilipinas.
Meanwhile, during the ongoing Balikatan exercises, the U.S. Army decided to teach Filipino soldiers how to use a Javelin anti-tank weapon system, which is capable of destroying tanks and armored vehicles.
We want to also bring that capability to the Philippine Army in order for us to be able to bolster our defensive posture and be able to defend our territory.
The Balikatan exercises will continue until the end of April. Then in May, the second phase of Salaknib 2023 will continue. Among the planned training activities are the command post exercise, cyber defense exercise, field training exercise, and humanitarian civic assistance. For News 5, Brian Castillo, we are One News.
We'll be back with more stories after the break. Keep it here on One News. You're still watching One News Now. I'm Diego Castro. The Transportation Department floats the idea of putting up barriers at train stations to avoid accidents. This comes after an incident at the MRT-3 where a passenger allegedly jumped onto the tracks of the railway. The agency renews moves to put up barriers at railway stations after previous administrations failed to carry out their proposal. For now, the department says it will ensure security personnel will carry out proper profiling of passengers.
Dahil po sa kakulangan sa budget, hindi po ito natuloy. So, sa administrasyong ito, atin pong ibabalik ang pursue sa ganitong rekomendasyon kung kakayanin ng budget. Also, atin pong ini-implement, pinapatuloy po natin ang implementasyon ng pagpo-profile po ng ating mga security personnel sa mga pasahero tungkol dun sa mga out of the normal na kilos ng mga pasahero at pinapaalalahanan din po natin ang ating mga personnel sa stations at mga security na paalalahanan patuloy ang pagpapaalala sa ating mga pasahero na huwag tatawid doon sa yellow line hanggat hindi pa po fully stop ang tren.
An infectious diseases expert says the public has no reason to panic over the recently confirmed first human death due to the H3N8 bird flu. Earlier this week, China has recorded the world's first human death from the virus. The victim was a 56-year-old woman from southern China who had been exposed to the virus at live poultry markets. Infectious disease expert Dr. Ronjin Solante says this should not be a cause for alarm, as the bird flu is not a highly transmissible virus like COVID-19. Still, Solante says it is important for the government to monitor and implement preventive measures against the H3N8 bird influenza.
I don't think there's a need to panic, and at the same time, kailangan lang talagang i-monitor natin, and that's it, no? Hindi tayo kailangan mag-panic at this point in time.
Tropical Depression Amang has weakened into a low-pressure area on Thursday, but the weather disturbance reportedly left at least 12 million pesos worth of damage to the agriculture sector in Bicol region. Based on the initial assessment of DA Region 5, damage and losses have been reported in rice, high-value crops, and livestock. The tropical depression has damaged over 1,000 hectares of agricultural areas in Camarines Sur and Sorsogon. Meanwhile, over 100,000 pesos in humanitarian assistance or aid has been distributed by the Social Welfare Department to those affected by Amang. The DSWD and local government units continue to provide assistance to residents who are staying in evacuation centers as the floods continue to subside in affected areas.
Although nakita naman natin hindi po ganoong kalakas, ito pong si Tropical Depression Amang, ganun pa man, nakapagdulot pa rin po ito ng pinsala sa iba't ibang bahagi po ng ating bansa, particularly po sa ating eastern border. Sa ngayon po nakapagpamahagi po tayo ng mahigit 109,000 na halaga po ng humanitarian aid, particularly po dito po sa Field Office 11.
And those are the top stories of the hour. Join us again at 9:45 a.m. as we continue to monitor the day's biggest stories. I'm Diego Castro. We are One News. All sides, all the time.